Hi, everybody. Welcome to our premiere edition of Morning in the Valley Overtime, as we've got plenty of Valley hoops to get to tonight and got games going on right now. Drake has just gone to overtime with Robert Morris. We're going to have a full house tonight. Harry Schroeder, Valley Hoops Insider, will be with us. John Baker from the March to the Arch podcast will be with us. And hopefully we'll get to talk with Michael Admire, the radio voice of the Drake Bulldogs. He was going to hop on with us after his post-game show was done, but they're still rolling in Des Moines against Bobby Moe, as Drake, a second straight game, got off to a slow start, got down double digits in the first half, but have rallied back, took the lead, and then it was Robert Morris who hit some big shots down the stretch, forced overtime, and with 3:02 remaining, they trail 75-74 at the free throw line with a chance to tie it up are the Bulldogs. So lots to get to right now as we wait for our fellas to show up. 75 all now with 3:02 remaining. Man, the story of the night, this game certainly brewing, and as has been already thrown in my direction, the epitome of brutality game here for Drake, the money game against Robert Morris, a team that got beat by 30 at Iowa earlier this week, rolling into Drake, a money game for the Bulldogs, and it has just been a struggle. Have not been able to shake Robert Morris, a team that went to the NCAA tournament a year ago and trying to pull off a very big early season win over in Des Moines at the Knapp Center. The other game going on right now is in Cedar Falls, where Northern Iowa is just, well, they were laying it too. Yeah, they are back to laying the lumber against Cal State Northridge, 67-42 midway through the first half. UNI used a 21-0 run midway through the first half to take control of that game. Northridge put a little lipstick on the pig, got it back to 46-32 at the break, but now Northern Iowa up by 25. We've got less than 10 minutes to go there in Cedar Falls. Just trying to... Two games have gone final already, and one, the main event we'll get to in just a second. Indiana State picks up their first win, and no real surprise, 104-73. They beat Illinois Tech tonight. And the main issue for Valley teams is Illinois State on the road tonight at Ohio, taking on a Bobcat team that is, I don't know, as an alum of Ohio, I can say they're okay, and that's really about all we can say about them. They're okay, and this was just ultimately a disappointing night for the Redbirds to go into Athens, Ohio, and get picked off 72-68. A lot of different angles you can take with this one. Illinois State, again, another slow start with this one, down 11 in the first half, able to climb all the way back in, got up as many as 8 in the second, and then suddenly here come the Bobcats as they were able to win comfortably. Illinois State threw in a 3 basically at the horn to make it a 4-point victory. But Chase Walker, in his first night as the preseason player of the year, not a night he's going to remember. Played just 19 minutes, fouled out, 7 points, just 4 rebounds, was a complete non-factor in this game. And again, the inside presence there, okay, nothing really out of the ordinary in terms of anybody real great, but it was just a night where, boy, they could not get anything going inside. The biggest number that jumps out to me, and again, we can talk about Chase only having 7 points, fouling out, playing 19 minutes, and probably a chunk of this is the fact he didn't get to play as much as he wanted to. Still played 19. It wasn't like he played 9, played 19. Ohio outscored Illinois State in the paint tonight 50-30. 50 points in the paint. Just a remarkable defensive evening that Ryan Peden is not going to write home about, as Drake has just scored. 90 seconds to go. They lead 79-77 as Jay-Sean Thomas with the lay-in. He's got 11. That makes it 79-77, but Drake has just fouled Robert Morris down at the other end, so Bobby Moe will have a chance to tie this up. It was just, Jack Doherty was a complete, he 0 for 5 from the field. Did not, and I think that was the part. He's 0 for 5. Illinois State goes 8 for 26 from beyond the arc. Chase Walker, again, 7 points. I think he ended up with 4 shots. No, he's 2 for 7. He had some late shots to get there. One of those 2 was he actually hit a 3-pointer, got a little heat checky with his triple later, a second triple on a back-to-back trips that went awry. But this is, look, it's the first week of the year. It's overreaction, whatever day you want to call it, here in the first week, because that's the way we react to things at this time of the season. Everything's awesome, everything's awful. There's not a whole lot of in between. But I certainly think that last week in the exhibition game at Northwestern, when Illinois State got blasted, it was kind of like, okay, that was concerning. It's like, all right, they're going to go, let's go play. They had guys that weren't healthy, and everybody was healthy tonight, and go in there and get picked off was certainly disappointing. Let's see, Drake for 3, no good. Rebound, Robert Morris, 1:08 to go with the basketball. So this one coming down to the wire in overtime, and Robert Morris has just scored. So we are under a minute to go, and Drake down by 2, trying to come up with something here as they try to avoid the home upset here in the second game of their season. Of course, beat Northern Arizona on Monday over in Sioux Falls at the Field of 68. 3 is halfway down and kicks out, and it's going to stay with Drake. 36.8 to go. No, it's going to the other end. They give it to Robert Morris. So now we get into the situation for Eric Henderson. It's going to be a timeout for Robert Morris. 81-79. Drake down by 2. 7-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock of how you want to handle it. And I think you've got to try to extend the game here. I think you're going to see Drake try to press, trap, everything, try to force a turnover. And then when it gets across half court, I think you got to eat it. You're kind of in that just no man's land. It's like Jay-Sean Thomas had a 3. And I mean, this thing was all the way down twice and then spins out, and it is off Drake. Looks like we're going to get a review. So maybe we will see if there will be a reprieve for the Bulldogs, but 81-79 there. Back to Illinois State and Ohio, 72-68. Bobcats get the win. Bowden Skunberg had 15 points, 7 rebounds tonight. Johnny Kinzinger had 15 as well. Skunberg had a nice start to the second half. And this was the part where I thought, okay, after such a slow start early and to be down 18-7 and then have to climb your way out of that the entirety of the first half to get back even at the break, and then to come out pretty much in the first 2.5 minutes, you get a 10-2 run. Skunberg hits a couple of threes to stretch the lead out to 8. And you're like, okay, now things have gotten back to where we sort of expected them to be. And then Redbirds just couldn't close this thing. Just could not close this thing at all. And a lot of it was, again, Chase had sat for a big chunk of the first half with his 2 fouls, comes back in, picks up his 3rd foul with the timeout that got him right to the under 16 timeouts. And then he sits again. As I wrote down, Ohio getting whatever they wanted inside. And again, when you score 50 of your 72 points in the paint, that I think certainly qualifies for getting everything that you want. Chase got his fourth foul with 6:08 to go, down by 5, and they were never really able to make a push. So look, this had an opportunity to be. This was a quad 2 opportunity for Illinois State. I mean, I think Ohio is going to end up being, in that 125 range before it's all said and done this year. I mean, I think they were picked 4th in the MAC, but this is one just felt like, especially when you're up 8 early in the half, that this was one you needed to be able to steal. And unfortunately, they were not able to do that. So hopefully John Baker and Harry Schroeder will be with us here in a little bit. We'll talk about that one. The other game tonight that has already gone final in the Valley over and speak of the devil. Well, we don't even need to get into Indiana State, Illinois Tech quite yet. We're going to get in. We're going to go back to Ohio and Illinois State, and we're going to bring in the man and the myth, and goodness knows the legend of the Valley. He is Harry Schroeder, insider. Sir, welcome. We've got a developing situation going on in Des Moines, Iowa right now. I don't know how locked in you have been tonight to overtime at Drake and Robert Morris, but we're keeping one eye on that. But chatting about Illinois State going to Ohio tonight and coming up short. What'd you see of that, if any, and thoughts on sort of the disappointing end of the stick there for the Redbirds?
Yeah, I don't know if you see me, Jeff. I can see you, but
I see you. You look magnificent. You look
great. Good. I can see you, but not me. It's probably better. Yeah, very disappointing with Illinois State, I thought, tonight. They missed key free throws. Obviously, Chase Walker's foul problems were a big part of the issue. He fouled out, only scored 7 points. I thought that they didn't look super connected. Brandon Lieb couldn't defend when Walker was out. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Disappointing loss. It was on the road, obviously. The Valley had 3 games tonight against top 100 teams, top 150 teams in the net from a year ago, and both and KenPom this year. And losing one and overtime and another one where they're struggling as well. It's not been a great night for the Valley just yet.
Interesting, as we're again got one eye here on the Knapp Center with Robert Morris and jumper with the shot clock expiring, and they miss it, and the ball gets kicked into the backcourt, and that's going to do it. And Robert Morris goes to Des Moines and beats Drake tonight, 81-79. That one has gone final. Interesting. I guess as we're bouncing around here a little bit with just happening right now, that Drake down to 37 seconds left. Eric Henderson decided to play it out and play defense, and they got the miss they wanted, couldn't get the rebound. So that'll be one that I suppose you stick to your convictions. It's like, we're going to do this one way or the other. You can't really second guess it, but just interesting evening here so far for the Valley. We'll get to the Drake game in a little bit. Michael Admire hopefully will be with us here in a little while. Illinois State, listen, it's game 1, and this is overreaction week. We're going to everything's awesome or everything is awful, depending on how you want to look at it. But
True enough.
Let's bring in John Baker from the March to the Arch podcast, our resident Illinois State homer. Who
I feel bad for Baker tonight.
We've got listen, Baker. I was going to wear the Ohio garb if Illinois State won, just to take one on the chin. I didn't want to rub that in for you tonight. So, all right, question for both of you. We'll start with Harry. Is there cause for concern already with Illinois State? Just from look, when you saw the disappointment of sort of what happened at Northwestern, and you're like, are these flags waving a little bit? And then Chase not playing well tonight, and to go on the road against an okay team and come up short. Do we have to be on concern alert, at least with this bunch right now?
Concern alert, yes. And I'll tell you why. I was on with John and the guy and Vance a week or so ago. I'm not as sold on Chase as everybody else is. And the foul trouble tonight, you can cast that aside. If he plays the whole game, maybe it's a totally different outcome. I didn't think despite the fact that they didn't give up a ton of points, I didn't think they defended well. And so I do wonder. Now, Skunberg, wow, was super impressive tonight. And I love his game offensively. And I really thought Pence was the best player on the court tonight, just doing all kind of efficient things, rebounding, getting some points as well. They're going to be okay, but I am nervous about some of the lack I saw there of maybe tenacity on the defensive end.
John Baker, concern alert.
First of all, glad to be with you guys as always.
Didn't even give you like an hour to let this one settle in a little bit.
I know. I was talking to Vance or half hour ago and after the game, and he was just like, I told him, I was like, God, I can't believe I told Jeff that I'd do this. But no, nevertheless, only for you, Jeff, only for you. I would say, I don't know, I guess concern alert if you want to. It's one game. I don't want to, your best player didn't play well. Your sharpshooter didn't shoot the ball well. You're playing a team who's played their first game already on the road against a pretty good team. Ken Pom had this as a 1-point loss for the Birds. You lost by 4. I guess concern alert, whatever you want to call it. It's not great to lose the first game. This is the logic side of me talking about, not the fan side. I will be more concerned if they don't show up on Sunday when they play Cornell, who's another good team. Now, if we want to take the fan hat on, this is incredibly concerning because this is exactly what I think Illinois State fans were worried about when we had expectations coming in this season. Realistically, it doesn't mean that much, but to Redbird fans, this means everything. Like, this is the worst possible outcome for tonight. You needed to start off 1-0. If you're the team that's going to win the conference, this is a game you got to win.
And I'll just say this too, Jeff, like I mentioned earlier, 3 games tonight against teams in the top 110, 150, in the Ken Pom things and in last year's net. These are the teams you're competing with to try to get an at-large bid if you don't win your conference tournament. And so if you're going to differentiate yourself, you have to head-to-head beat these teams. And the Missouri Valley lost 2 out of 3 tonight. And so that's really concerning when you look at it down the road.
Skunberg, I thought was good also tonight. It was just nice to see him as he's healthy, and it just after all of last year and even through August, and you didn't get to see him at all, and then to see sort of that immediate impact coming out of halftime to hit the back-to-back threes as part of that 10-2 run, and you're like, all right, they're up 8, everything's going to be okay from here. But I guess we're chasing, we're chasing silver linings right now. But like I said, Chase to go. I just thought he was invisible in a lot of ways. And I thought that was the part that, I think, 7 shots, and a lot of those came late where he just was not now. And I counter that with in the first half. And when I was scribbling notes down, I just wrote Chase trying to do too much when he had a second travel, when it was just like he was trying to play hero ball down low, and their post defense was good enough to kind of slow him down. And then he just, with the foul trouble and everything, he just kind of evaporated.
Yeah. So Chase was in foul trouble. But they didn't go inside all night. 6 of 11. They shot 11 free throws.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't force the action, and you can't win tough, hard-nosed games if you're not getting to the line.
Yeah, he was really sloppy, I thought, in the first half. Not a good Chase Walker. I think he was trying to force it too much early on in the game to kind of make a statement. First game of the season with a lot of the accolades he's gotten in the offseason. Really didn't play a very good game, and I think that's why it took so long for him to kind of get into the game. I agree. Bowden Skunberg was awesome. Great to see him on the floor. Pence was really pretty good. I thought the one thing that I think, if you want to look at something that did concern me, they had that run right out of half where they got up or I think they were up 8-10, something like that. And that's a good team's got to put your foot on their throat, like right then and there. And good teams we've seen in the past, good teams in the Valley will put teams away like that. And you just let them get right back into the game. And this was a concern Illinois State had last year. This is similar to they had a game at Indiana State last year where they went in the second half, had a great run, took the lead, let them back in the game, and then got blown out. So this was the concerning part that we saw last year as well. So I don't know.
John, what's your 50 points in the paint? Just felt like, Ohio got everything they wanted down low. Did that jump out as surprising to you at all? And I know that, Chase spent some time out, but at the same time, he did play 19 minutes and with Lieb in there as well. They did whatever they wanted down there.
Yeah, I didn't love the defense down low. I think that goes without saying. They've got to be much better. I think defensively, yeah, there was a lot of easy baskets that Ohio was getting. They were running a lot of cuts and just catching Illinois State sleeping so many times. It might not have. It's a lot of just easy layups, and if you're going to win in the Valley, you cannot. That's coaching. You just got to be ready for it. And there was a lot of times where Illinois State was they were caught on the back foot. They would score a basket, and Ohio would score within 5 seconds. They would just get the ball down the floor and score on you. So you're right. I mean, inside Illinois State had no answer for them. Ohio is not a bad team.
They're fine. They're fine.
They're fine, but I mean, they're probably not going to be picked. They wouldn't be picked to win the Valley. They'd probably be picked 7th or 8th, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, not an ideal night, Jeff.
Harry, mic check 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, how are we now? Are we better now?
Still staticky. I don't know what happened. Everything was great for the first minute, and then Illinois State lost, and everything all went to hell. So I mean, I think that's obviously what happened there. All right, so gosh, I thought tonight was going to be such a happy night. All the way around, and then Drake ends up going and losing at home as well. And we can talk about that one now. I think that I was not disappointed, surprised maybe, and maybe shouldn't have been. Again, new team, 15 new guys. I think we were spoiled by what we saw last year, where everything worked so well from minute one, and for very justifiable reasons with Ben McCollum and all those guys that were with him from the year before. And this is a different bunch, but against Northern Arizona team, thought they should have beaten handily. Eventually they did. It just took kind of like a little while to get warmed up. Tonight it was kind of that same thing. But then they just couldn't ultimately seal the deal there.
I don't know how bad my mic is, Jeff, but when I watched that game, because I was flipping between all three of them, right? I didn't bother with the Indiana State game because of who they were playing. We were so used to Bennett Sturts just running the game last year, and they didn't have a clear guy that was going to handle the ball. I thought Quinn had a nice game in a lot of ways, but he's not a point guard, and I think they struggled in their offensive flow. It was interesting to watch. They got a lot of effort baskets tonight rather than flow of the game baskets.
John, I'm going to assume you didn't watch a whole lot of the Drake game because
I did catch every bit of it after the Redbird game because I want to take my mind off it. So when I was talking and shout out to my friend Vance, who's watching, my co-host on March the Arch. I did. I really like Federico, what I saw from him. Like Jalen Quinn a lot. Both those guys are really good. They're going to be really tough to play against here in the Valley. But this is a tough loss at home, especially watching that overtime. You felt like Drake was just a basket away, and I just couldn't find it. And it was excruciating. Especially also, like, a little side note: Robert Morris literally just lost to Drake of last year the other night.
Right,
which is
by like 50.
I know. I was watching with my son, and he's like, that's pretty much Drake, isn't it? I was like, yeah, it's pretty much Drake from last year. So, but no, this is a tough loss on your home floor. But what Ben McCollum did last year and instantly turning it around, that's not the norm. Like, this is the norm. You're going to go through some growing pains with a new coach. I think Eric Henderson's a great coach. I think they do have talented players here, but they're going to lose a few of these games, and that's just going to be the way it is. This is one you wish you wouldn't have, and I think one that you kind of look at that you kind of let slip away at the end. But at the end of the day, this is kind of what Drake's going to be this year.
Yeah, watching them in person over in Sioux Falls on Monday, the two things that jumped out at me, Oku Federico is a athletic freak. He's raw, and I think he is a project, which is scary because in the end tonight, he ended up he had a double 15 minutes into the game tonight, and when they needed to stop and needed a big rebound against Northern Arizona at the end of the game, he just kind of came out of nowhere, and this arm just extended and just came out of nowhere and just ripped it down. And you're like, okay, that's a dude that is. He's going to be a challenge for teams in this league this year, let alone years into the future. And then Wilkins Jr. exact is that he is just a freaking 6'5" fullback and is just such a physical presence. He had a couple big boy drives tonight that I think was really, really strong. Yeah, Federico 18 and 15 tonight. So I think I might worry a little about the guard play and maybe shot making. And then I say that, and Jalen Quidd had 20 tonight, and Jay-Sean Thomas had 11. So I don't know, just one that maybe it is. Maybe tonight was probably as much as anything just one of those games of we're new. We're all new, and we haven't gotten through crunch time together yet. And we just unfortunately stubbed our toe. And unfortunately for us as a league, when we need everybody to get every single one of these, no matter what, this one stings.
Yeah, and I think Jeff, when I watched that game, and I don't want to knock guys, but Eli Shetler never got off the bench a year ago, maybe even redshirted, I don't know. And Aaliyah is a walk-on, and they were playing in crunch time tonight, which tells me that there are several guys on that team that came in that we thought maybe would be good players that Eric Henderson doesn't have confidence in yet. And so that's interesting to me. Those guys might turn out to be great players. Eli Shetler had a great high school career. Went to Indiana State first, transferred to Drake, sat, and now he's playing in crunch time in game number 2. That was surprising to me. Aaliyah, as we mentioned, a walk-on. So I just wonder about development players. Obviously, they're still missing Owen, whatever his last name is.
Yeah.
And they think he's going to be a star, a significant player for them. So they're down some guys, but they're going to be hurt interiorly as well. They're not very big. I mean, they have big, strong guys. You mentioned Exact and you mentioned Federico. They're strong, athletic guys, but they're not tall. Right. And I do think they're going to struggle a little bit interiorly as well.
Yeah.
Owen Larson there, Harry.
Yeah, Larson.
Go ahead.
Yeah. John. Owen Larson's going to be really good. Can't wait to see him play. He's the guy that I think we're looking out for. He was, started every game as a freshman at South Dakota State. So he's going to be really good, I think, in this league. But to your point, they are missing guys. This is a game, if you kind of look at their schedule, they've got some tough games coming up. They got to go to Charleston. They've got LSU, and then the winner of Georgia Tech DePaul in their MTE. They got UAB, North Dakota State. They've got a lot of games that you could lose. So losing this one was going to be tough because this is one that you really wanted to get to because you want to, if you're Drake, I think it's important to try to get to conference season above 500 to get some confidence going into that. But no, I agree. I don't love I don't love Carr's game. I don't know how he's going to fit with this team long-term. Because I know a lot of people were talking about him coming out of Denver, but I haven't been real impressed with him. Federico's going to be really good. Quinn's going to be really good. Thomas is going to be good. Can those guys get you to 11, 12 wins in the Valley? I don't know.
Yeah, Drake had won, our crack research staff, Drake had won 49 straight home non-conference games before tripping tonight. So that one is one you wanted. And again, and as I've, each their own on this, just for me, it's all about the metrics and all about, we're trying to get 2 teams in. And it's like, if you win at home, it's okay. If you win on the road, it's great. If you lose on the road, it's fine. If you lose at home, it is a kick in the shins. And especially against a team that's, 250 in KenPom coming into tonight, that one's going to sting a little bit there. Let's see where we're at here with our friends in Cedar Falls. It has gone final 86-57. Northern Iowa has defeated Cal State Northridge in a game that was over from the jump for the most part. The Panthers, a 21-0 run in the first half that went from it was 12-11 and then it was 33-11, just like that. And that game got rotated out of the 4-box pretty quickly. Northridge got it back manageable at the half at 14, but then Northern Iowa did what they needed to do. Leon Bond was awesome tonight. I thought and we'll talk with J.W. Cox tomorrow morning, their radio guy on Morning in the Valley, but Ben Schweigert's kind of been MIA, and Ben Jacobson on Saturday was kind of vague of, he's, it's been a couple of weeks and maybe we can practice and I don't know. And that was kind of the end of it. But he was back in there tonight. And so that was good to see, to at least have them at full strength.
Yeah. And, and they keep calling them CSUN or whatever. There's all kinds of names running around the Matadors. But I made notes here. They were 111 in the net last year. So it's a team that's used to winning. Robert Morris, 131 in the net last year. So these were like potentially really important games. Illinois State with Ohio, even Ohio was 175 in the net last year. I mean, a top half team. And so big opportunities. But yeah, this one was over early. I thought LB3 was terrific. But you mentioned Schweiger and RJ Taylor. Neither one of them played much tonight, and still guys that I think they're nursing along to try to get healthy.
Yeah, this is a game that I can promise you guys I didn't watch 1 minute of. However, I do want to say one thing. If those of you who've listened to our podcast know that we like to give the Northern Iowa Panthers a lot of crap for starting their regular season, losing a home game to a team they shouldn't lose to. And so for them to, that has been if you guys go back the last few years, they'll lose to a Nicholls State or some team at home. And
well, last year it was UC Irvine who ended up
that ended up being good. That ended up being good.
Yes.
But the UC Irvine was on the good end of this. They've been known to start losing games.
We didn't know though on November 5th if they were any good. They ended up being awesome though.
Right. But hey, I'm gonna tip my cap to Northern Iowa. Way to start the season off on the right foot. They've got a really manageable non-conference schedule if you look at it. A lot of home games, a lot of winnable games for them. To me, they look like a team that can put up 10 wins here in the non-conference.
It's funny just with, it's kind of the epiphany that happened to me in August when, we spent 4 months just like, hey, Illinois State's got everybody back and look out for them. And it was like, oh yeah, wait a second. Northern Iowa has everybody back as well. But yeah, they lost, they lost their first team all league guy, but they got a lot of guys that can play. And to your point about the schedule being manageable as much as anything, they're just all at home and they did get a game with St. Mary's, and that's all the way before Christmas, I guess. That'll be the test. They were like, all right, are they for real when they get into conference play? But I feel like they've kind of been walking in the shadows for whatever reason, and I'm sure Ben Jacobson was just perfectly fine all summer to let all the attention head into the Normal Bloomington region.
They got two tough road games. At UC Irvine at the end of November, and then they've got the game right before New Year's or right before Christmas at St. Mary's. Those will be the two, because I think they play Loyola and they play either San Jose State and Tulsa in their MT. You can win 2 games in that easy. Wichita State at home, that's a winnable game. So, honestly, like this is a team who could have double-digit wins by the time we get to real conference season.
Yeah, winnable, John, but good teams.
Yeah.
I mean, Loyola's going to be a good A-10 team. Wichita State's going to be really decent. And so those wins will be really, really good wins if they can get them. Obviously, they got to go out and still do it. But yeah, I think a good schedule because it's winnable, but good teams.
Any thoughts on anything from earlier in the week, boys? On anybody sort of stood out one way or the other?
You know what? I did spend quite a bit of time watching Valpo, and I love the young kids. They looked really good for long periods of time, and he was playing 3 freshmen at crunch time the other night, and they won the game. And so I don't know how good they're going to be, right? Eastern Illinois, isn't Duke, but they won a game against a Division I team with 3 rookies on the floor in crunch time. And so I was very encouraged by what I saw out of Valpo the other night.
Yeah, I agree with you. I liked Raheem Chaney a lot. He was a guy that I really liked coming out of college or coming into Valpo this season. He was a guy I was excited because I was like, oh, that's who I was putting my hat on. I gotta be honest with you, the team that really impressed me was Murray State. Not just come on your show, Jeff, but there was a lot of the kind of fearfulness of like everybody in the Valley kind of feared Murray State this year as the team that I think it's fair to say lowest floor, highest ceiling. They were that team that you don't know what they're going to be. They got a lot of talent, but we don't know until we see it. Just the way they took over that game. And I know Omaha was a little bit shorthanded, but that game was competitive until it wasn't. And Murray just kind of took control, similar to how Illinois State should have done tonight. It's like that you guys did what we should have done tonight. So really excited. Roman Damone is going to be really good. Jeff, maybe I can just ask you this. How big of a factor do you think he will be this year?
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think he's really good. Just for our pronunciation folks out there, it's Roman Doman. It took me 4 months to get that nailed down. So I guess because when we first showed up, I was like, well, it's Roman Doman, right? And they're like, no, it's Roman Doman. I'm like, super. I've got that committed to right now. So the part about him that is so he is 6'9" and bare feet, and he is long. And I mean, I know this is blasphemous on 1,000 levels, but it's like it is Magic Johnson in his ability to get rebounds, and he is just running the break. And he runs the break like he's a 6'1" guy. And it just like your brain has to almost like reconfigure. I'm not supposed to be seeing this where it's like normally like find a guard, and they're out filling lanes. And he's really good. He's still trying to learn. I think he's trying to acclimate to the physicality of the game. I think he's trying to acclimate to maybe that Euro step and a half over here in the States isn't always allowed. There was some frustration that he went through where and I was like, he really needed to kind of love the passion, got to rein that stuff in a little bit before somebody with the trigger finger is going to run you. But yeah, I think he's good. I think the part that was most impressive about what Murray did on Monday was Fred King did not play. Fred King is the best player on this team. KJ Tenner is the starting point guard. He played 6 minutes because he got knocked to the floor and an Omaha dude fell on his head and they sat him out for the rest of the game. So it's like you had 2 starters play 6 minutes and you still probably should have won by 15 outside of just the mental breakdown in the final 90 seconds. So that was just inexcusable in a lot of ways. But yeah, I think my takeaway and sort of referencing what you had said earlier, John, and when we talked last week, you'd said the same thing about the highest ceiling, lowest floor. I felt like sort of seeing it. We can throw a qualifier on Omaha if you want, but I felt like the floor part of the story has been removed now. Like, I don't know that this team can bottom out. I think that
you're saying the floor is pretty high.
I think the floor is high. I think the floor. Yeah. I bought in because, like I said, everybody that was all so excited all summer, I was like, listen, when you look at where these guys have been, and you just look at what did they do last year, and it's we got this kid from West Virginia who averaged 2 points a game, and that kid from Creighton who averaged 3 points a game, and that kid who played at Creighton once upon a time and then went to Santa Barbara and he averaged 4 points a game. Like the only kid that did anything was Lane Taylor, who came from Central Arkansas, and he averaged 17 points. So I was like, I have to see it, but I've seen it now against, for them to go to Xavier in an exhibition game. Xavier was trying to win that thing, and we beat them. And then to play the way they did, I'm just like, maybe the floor hasn't been eliminated, but I just feel like the floor has come up, that concern has fallen off my shoulders just a little bit. Week overreactions. I'm all about it, but that's kind of where I was with it.
I don't think I'm there yet, Jeff. One game. It's tough to remove that.
5 days from now, Dallas, Texas, SMU. We will find what this team has.
I agree. Because like I said, Omaha shorthanded going into that game. Guy I liked. I don't know how if you talked about him. Braden Schroeder. I think he gave you some good minutes. I don't know. I know he knocked down a couple of threes. I think he missed a few, but I thought he played pretty well coming off the bench from Murray State. And he's going to be kind of that guy that I think can be a little bit of a spark plug if he can come in, knock down a couple outside shots when you got the second team in. He was a guy I kind of liked his game.
He was interesting against Xavier. He took 14 threes. He took 14 shots, but he took 14 threes. I was like, okay, somebody got to him in the film room because I think he was, he had a couple, but it was like 3 for 6 type of thing against Omaha. So they reined him in a little bit. But look, the dude led Division II and made threes last year. I mean, right. he can flat out shoot. He's probably our best perimeter defender. I mean, he is a legit 6'5", 6'6", and he will stick his nose in there and be physical with guys. And so I think he is a super wild card. And then look, Mason Miller. Which Mason Miller are we getting kind of every night? And from a kid that 2 years ago led the Big East in 3-point percentage. Last year, he had broken his leg in the summer and kind of lost all his confidence, couldn't throw it in the ocean his last year at Creighton. At Xavier, couldn't throw it. I mean, could not hit water if he was falling out of a boat. And then he goes and, he hits 3 or 4 against Omaha, and we're just big ones. So I think he's going to be a streaky guy. And it's just, again, another 6'9" wing that's out there that is such an ability to shoot. So, yeah.
Jeff, tell us about King. Like, how long, what's his story?
He had the description that I was given was, there's something called a fat pad, I guess, in your knee, which I had never heard that phrase, but it is
I have a lot of fat pads, but they're not my knees.
Not my knees at all. Husky, appreciate it here on Morning in the Valley Overtime. That we had. So he went up for a rebound in our exhibition against Northern State last week, and as Ryan Miller described it, and when I went back and looked on it, the description was perfect. Is that he got his leg caught on a guy's shoulder, and I was just like, is that possible? It is possible when you are Fred King, apparently. So it's sort of just hyperextended the knee just a little bit, but they did all the testing and everything was like, everything came back clean. It was just this aggravation in this fat pad area where it was like structurally the knee was fine. It was just a pain management thing because it hurt a lot, apparently. The thing about on Monday, he dressed, he went through warm-ups, doing stretching and all that, and he was doing 360 reverse dunks. And I'm like, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. So they did not play him. It was a break glass in case of emergency, and that wasn't needed. So the hope is that he'll be back. They play tomorrow night against Mississippi Valley State.
Yep.
Maybe they get him out there for a little bit to run around a little bit. But the whole kind of goal was, please be ready for next Tuesday when we go to Dallas to play SMU. I thought J.J. Traynor was the other one who had been out. He missed both exhibitions with a shoulder issue. He played a lot, and kid that been at Louisville, been at DePaul, super athletic four-man that's just kind of the pogo stick and kind of the thunder and lightning down low with Fred. I think that he can be impactful. So I didn't mean to, this doesn't need to be the Murray State podcast tonight, but I thought they were, I liked seeing them and Drake together. I thought it was important. I know both teams probably liked getting the chance to see each other in person there while we were in South Dakota.
And the most underappreciated guy in the Valley, Javon Jackson, gets no love on this podcast for 24 points.
I have said, and I said it after. I said it on the air. I said, up until a week ago, all summer, it was like if you had just listed off who are the guys that are going to be the most impactful, highest scoring guys, I'd have ripped off 5 names, 7 names before I got to Javon Jackson. And wow. I have been proven to be an absolute moron because and that was like, look, he got 22 against Northern State. That's fine. He got a bunch of layups. That's fine. To go put 24 on Omaha and the way he did it, I was just like, I am a dope. And this kid we should have seen it. I don't know why I didn't see it because
he was one of the most effective Valley players last year. Like he's coming, and that's the thing. I think that he's going to pay dividends in January because he's played these teams. He's played, and it's not like in Illinois State and in Northern Iowa, he's played against these guys. He's played those games. So I think, and it's great to see him start off on the right foot. One other thing we also didn't mention in one of those early games, if you guys were up early, tough loss for Bradley.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
To me, I don't read a whole. It's a game I think that they would have liked to have won. Unfortunately, Birch fell down when they were trying to get back into the game at the very end. I don't have a panic button hit for them yet. You lost to a like team. You'd like to have won it in a neutral floor, but to me that doesn't. I don't know how you guys feel about Bradley, but I'm not buying or selling on them yet either way.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought them up, John, because they didn't look like Bradley. They look like some guys that are figuring out what Bradley is. And
right.
and Brian's been saying it for weeks. We're going to end up being a good team. But he hasn't been saying, "Oh, we're ready. We're coming." He's been saying, "We're going to get better. We're going to get better." And so many new and different moving parts. They weren't a Bradley team that we're used to seeing that are so together and know where each other is and those kinds of things. But they've got the horses, and I think it'll be interesting to watch them. By the way, I mean, going all the way back, they got all those freshmen. Illinois State's got all the freshmen. I thought the young guy for Illinois State looked pretty good tonight. He didn't shoot it very well. Had an air ball. Coleman, right? Coleman? Yeah. He threw up an air ball, but he handled the ball pretty decently. And I liked what I saw out of him, though he didn't shoot it well tonight. And I think the development of some of those young players, we forget Jaquan Johnson, right? I got so many names floating around. And Birch, these are all young guys that are, taking these prominent roles for some of these teams.
I think and I think, John, to your point about, look, it's a 10 a.m. game. It's the first day of the year. It's like, there's, you can excuse it away in a lot of things. I think the part that has me, and again, the concern alert maybe with Bradley is I think they had so much experience for kind of years with Duke and with Hannah and with Montgomery that now it's like, okay, it's a new era, and for them to be, to be down double digits in the first half, to come back, I think they're up 5 points or so, and then to score 8 points in the last 9 minutes. It's kind of like, who's the guy? Who's the guy that you can go get to get a bucket? And that was kind of my takeaway there. All right, our man in Des Moines has joined us. He is the radio voice of the Drake Bulldogs. He is Michael Admire. Michael, good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening to you. Rough night there at the office for the Bulldogs, falling in overtime to Robert Morris. Your perspective, what happened down there tonight?
Yeah, I mean, first off, can you guys hear me? Is this all right?
You're awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not sure. All right. Yeah. The big takeaway is just the guys really struggled offensively. If that's not obvious enough by just looking at the numbers, had a hard time executing in the half court when they were getting stops, getting misses, one and done. I mean, they went on a 16-2 run in the second half, but to be down 10 points, be down double digits for the second consecutive time in the first half, that's tough. But another big takeaway is Robert Morris really played inspired tonight. That's not a bad team. I know they lost by 30 plus at Iowa on Tuesday night, but this is a team that stayed on the road and kind of regrouped. They got an additional player off the bench and Cam Wilds, a transfer from D2 level, and he was an additional piece for them in this game. So it was a mix of Drake just not really playing great for the first 20 minutes. Coach Henderson in the postgame show was like, at home, in a game like that, Robert Morris was the more physical, more energetic team, and that just can't happen. And that was kind of like the big piece. And it turns out to be the first home non-conference loss in the last 49 games. So 49 home games for Drake. So that's a tough one to watch slip away.
Look, Michael, this is it's a new team, as we've already talked about. We got spoiled last year with just the magical run at the start of the year, really all season long, that it's supposed to work, right? You're supposed to win all your games when you have an entirely new team and a new coach and all that. But second game in a row that it was like, all right, it took until 5 minutes into the second half before you guys finally got your legs under you. What has been kind of the common thread there of just these slow starts, albeit 2 games into the season?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. That I haven't put a pinpoint on it yet. Yeah. We'll leave that up to Hendo and company, but I think some of it is just like that energy, having that mindset of toughness coming right out of the gate and doing that for 40 minutes. There have been a couple things in each of the games, offensive rebounds, second chance points that have popped up in the first half of games, and then the team has done a better job in the second half. Robert Morris the other night turned the ball over 23 times. Tonight, 17, but none in overtime. Most of those turnovers kind of came in that stretch of the second half. So, not capitalizing on some of that stuff. And yeah, I mean, you look at the shooting numbers, 24 of 65 from the field, 6 of 23 from outside. They got to find a guy like, talked about, with past Drake teams, you could turn to a Tucker DeVries and he could get you a bucket when you needed one for a couple seasons. A Roman Penn, you go back even further. Last year, Bennett Sturts was that streak stopper. Somebody's going to have to be that guy. And hopefully that person emerges sooner rather than later.
Michael, I'm just curious about the point guard situation. When I watched tonight, you got a lot of guys that are handling the ball, but I didn't see that guy that was handling the ball, if I can say it that way. Do you have a thought about who's going to run the offense? 9 assists tonight only for the Bulldogs. And I did think the half court offense struggled. I was telling the guys earlier, I thought there were a lot of effort baskets, like a lot of, okay, I better go drive it and get a basket somehow, rather than something coming out of the offense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think some of that is some of the not knowing who the point guard is a little bit of the flow of the offense, just the motion free flowing offense. There are 5 guys that can handle the basketball on the floor at any given time. But then, I would say Jalen Quinn is kind of your point guard, your captain running the point right now. But he's traditionally a 2 or 3 guard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, in early December when Owen Larson comes back, he is that guy, but he's still, about a month out. So I would say there is help in that situation coming. But right now, Thomas and Jalen Quinn and, the committee have to step up.
And Federico was amazing tonight. I thought Exact was really outstanding. Talk about those 2 guys. They were just really strong.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Both of those guys scored in double figures in the first game too. And we're talking about Oku on Monday. I think is like 12 or 14 points, and it was a very quiet 12 or 14 points. Tonight, we knew going into the season that Oku has the ability to kind of score from anywhere on the floor. Offensive rebounding is kind of the name of his game. But the thing that coaches said most about him was his high energy. And you really, really saw that tonight. I mean, he put everything out there on the floor, and same with Exact. I mean, late in the second half into overtime, like our AT is over there, like using the Theragun on one guy's quad, and then, all right, now we use a different tool on the other guy's calf. And I mean, there's no doubt the effort, especially in the second half and into overtime, was there. But it kind of had put themselves in a tough spot. Robert Morris got feeling good about themselves and played good tonight.
Michael, this is just like prime guessing situation, and certainly not the point of the question, but just you're in that no man's zone, no man's land with 37 seconds left in overtime, down 2, trying to get a stop. Was there any discussion after the game about maybe we need to foul and try to extend the game? You got the stop you wanted, you just couldn't get the rebound and get anything out of it there at the end of overtime.
Yeah, we talked about it on our broadcast. My partner, Mike Swaim, which I don't know if you guys have ever tuned in, he is extremely smart and does a really nice job of bottling stuff down into small chunks for our radio audience. He's really good at describing the stuff. And we talked in the post-game show about that. And we both agreed that they played it out the right way. You can second guess it a little bit, but if you put somebody, they were 8 for 8 at the free throw line. If you put somebody at the line, you're kind of gambling there. If they make both free throws, you have 0 shot. If you get the stop, you get the rebound, you have 6 seconds to potentially make something happen. You still have a couple timeouts in your back pocket. So yeah, I think they played it out right. It's just the ball didn't bounce their way at that point. And in games like this, when you're not taking care of some of the other stuff, that happens.
Well, they did the same thing at the end of regulation, and it worked out. They got the stop. And so, yeah, I mean, you do what you do.
Hey, Michael, big picture. Hey, big picture, looking at Drake, what are your expectations? Well, I have 2 questions. First one, where do you expect Drake to be kind of once we get to Missouri Valley Conference season? Obviously, there's a game you probably wish you'd had at home. But ultimately, where do you think their progression is going to be once they get Owen back and ready into conference play? And then also my second part of the question is, are we still in the same three-color sweater rotation for this season? Have we added any new sweaters? And can we get an update on the sweater gate?
I'll start with the sweater. I've got 4 of them, Baker.
Okay.
4.
Hey.
We're rocking. This one might be put on the shelf for a little bit, though, after that stuff tonight. No, where do I expect? I mean, call me a homer. I'm wearing the D sweater right now, whatever it is. I think Drake's going to compete for a championship still. I mean, that hasn't changed. You look at what South Dakota State did last year and kind of the track record, and even over the years, they play their best basketball in February and March, and they've taken some losses early on. But, looked at that team last year, they were poised to make a run in the Summit League championship, in the Summit League tournament. I think they had just beaten Omaha. I think beaten Omaha by like 20. Had a couple other big wins, and then February 23rd, Owen Larson blows out his knee, and then things kind of fall apart from there. So I'm saying that, one, because I believe in the players. There is a little bit of track record with this coaching staff, and then I don't think really we have anything to do with it. But I mean, hopefully the home atmosphere cranks up a little bit and can make this continue to make this a tough place to play. It was a good energy in here tonight. No fault to anybody on that side. Fans were into it. Just took the L.
There you go. Michael Admire, voice of the Drake Bulldogs. I know you got work to do. I appreciate you giving us a couple of minutes. Best of luck with the family over the next couple of days. Hopefully it's as uneventful as humanly possible, and welcome in the new member to the Admire clan. So we'll talk very soon.
All right, let's go. This is cool. I like the little after dark action. Thanks for having me.
We're trying. You got it, buddy. Thank you. All right, there's Michael Admire, voice of the Drake Bulldogs. So, well, gentlemen, I think we have kept you here long enough on a Thursday night. You are now free to go to your quarters. Lord knows it's past my bedtime, but glad to have a night off to be able to watch 4 games at one time. I don't know if I have to take my ADHD medicine next time before we try that again, but I think we did it. So, Harry Schroeder, the Valley Hoops Insider, John Baker, March to the Arch podcast. Gentlemen, thank you. Hopefully we can do this again soon.
Always fun. Good to see you guys.
All right.
Enjoyed it, fellas.
Thanks for watching Morning in the Valley.